Good morning, Cincinnati.
Your early morning wake-up call.
Orange barrel season is upon us. Now at 11, we're here to help. We'll tell you where you can expect delays over the next few months.
And temperatures drop off tonight, and some of us are under a freeze warning. How cold your neighborhood gets and when those 80s arrive. That's coming up.
Players in the NBA make millions of dollars. Tonight, meet one who's not getting a dime because those dollars are going to save lives back home.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Local 12 News.
Good evening. Orange barrel season is officially here. Here in the Tri-State, that means dozens of projects are finishing up and several more are just getting started.
The Ohio Department of Transportation anticipates spending $400 million on all of that work. Our Brad Underwood live tonight along I-71. And Brad, the orange barrels are already up behind you.
Yeah, you know, they're up, but I feel like it's construction season year-round here in Cincinnati with all the work on 75 and 71. But yes, the official season is here, and the good news for most interstate travelers is a lot of that work is going to be done in off-peak hours and in overnight hours. But on the east side, on 32, you could have a couple years ahead of you of some frustrating moments.
Pick any Ohio interstate, 71, 74, 75, 275, it doesn't matter. The orange barrels and cones line all the shoulders. But this construction season will mark the end of the work near I-74 and 75.
Basically, that's the reconfiguration of that interchange and adding a fourth lane in each direction on 75.
Kathleen Fuller with ODOT says there are 80 current projects in the 7-county area of southwest Ohio. As work continues on the Mill Creek Expressway on 75, new asphalt is being paved on I-275 between Loveland Madeira Road and I-71. ODOT is creating a smart lane.
We're going to be using the shoulders eventually to basically allow for an additional lane of traffic during peak travel time.
The first phase is in the westbound lane of 275. When the project is complete, the smart lane will stretch from 28 to 42. The highway will also be widened, as will the bridge over the Little Miami River.
It just opens up the freeway with an extra lane to, kind of alleviate some of the congestion, and in turn that will improve safety.
Perhaps the biggest project is already underway on State Route 32 in Claremont County.
A lot's happening out there. A lot more work is going to be taking place.
At 32 in Buxton, a new diamond interchange is coming. The new design will utilize ramps and traffic signals to move drivers through the intersection faster and safer.
You'll see kind of the movement of traffic, kind of, creating this circle, so to speak, with the series of the interchange at Buxton and State Route 32.
Also, big changes down the road at 32 and Glen Estee Withamsville Road. A new bridge will be built with ramps to Old 74 and Klepper Lane.
You'll basically have kind of a nice loop that is formed that takes traffic around on either side of 32.
Now, if you're familiar with that area or travel that particular stretch of 32 near Eastgate, you already know that county and state crews have already closed some of those local roads around 32. They do expect, ODOT does expect those interchange projects to be finished by 2024. Reporting live downtown, Brad Underwood, Local 12 News.
Brad, thank you. For a full list of ODOT projects, go to local12.com.
A truck driver is dead after a crash between two semis on northbound I-75 in Liberty Township this morning. One driver was hauling an empty trailer, the other a flatbed loaded with aluminum coils. Both were in the center lane. Investigators say the driver with the empty trailer slowed down near Liberty Way. James Barnett was driving the other semi. He swerved to avoid the truck in front of him, but hit the back end, causing his semi to flip. Barnett was thrown from his cab and died. It's unclear to us why the other driver slowed down.
A juvenile driver is in serious condition at Miami Valley Hospital tonight after a two-car crash in Butler County. It happened about 4:30 this afternoon at State Route 73 and Weir Road in Wayne Township. One car had 4 juveniles inside. The other had an adult and 4 juveniles. 3 other teens were taken to the hospital by ambulance, but their injuries are less serious.
One sibling is in the hospital and another is under arrest after a stabbing tonight in Florence. It happened around 6 at a home on Ridgeview Drive. The Boone County Sheriff's Office says it started with an argument and ended with one stabbing the other. The one who was stabbed was flown to the UC Medical Center and is expected to be okay. Both are teenagers.
Today marks 1 year since a 13-year-old girl was stabbed to death by another 13-year-old, a girl who she once called a friend. Only Local 12's Luke Jones was on hand this afternoon as her family marked the occasion. He's live tonight outside of the juvenile court, and Luke, the case against her killer continues to play out.
Exactly. The teen suspect who we're choosing not to identify will be back here in court May 3rd for a discovery motion, a full 13 months after the murder. And it could be many more months before a trial date is set. But that day can't come soon enough for Naira Gibbons' family. A life-size cutout of Naira Gibbons stands alone in the courtyard where Naira once stood, and where 1 year ago today, she tragically died.
Speechless still.
Naira had gotten into a fight with this girl, a former friend, outside her home in the Winton Terrace apartments. At some point, the other girl pulled a knife out and cut Naira's neck. She died at the hospital.
1, 2, 3. We love you.
Naira's family is marking the year since her passing with balloons. Balloons shaped like stars, like the star her siblings say Naira was.
She had my back and stuff, and I love her and I miss her.
But she watching you. She watching you, okay?
But a whole year later, Naira's family is still watching as the case moves forward against the girl accused of stabbing her.
I just want justice for my baby. You know, it's hard. Something I can't sleep, some nights can't eat, some nights, you know, it's just hard.
And harder still when those so new to life have to learn the meaning of death.
Even my kid, when they see the pictures, they always say, that's my cousin and she dead. And that's nothing that little bitty babies should run around and say at the age 3, 4, 5 years old.
And you know, one thing still deeply troubling to that family, each and every day having to walk past the site where Naira was murdered. They tell me they're looking around and trying to find another place to live, but so far haven't been able to. We're live downtown tonight. Luke Jones, Local 12 News.
Our thoughts are with that family. Thank you, Luke. And last year, Hamilton County set a new record for juvenile violence. At least 13 were charged with murder.
A fired daycare worker who's already accused of abusing a child now faces an additional charge. The Hamilton County prosecutor says Christian Hemmett lifted a 1-year-old child by the hair, dragged her, and actually ripped out the child's hair. Now, this allegedly happened at Small Kids Adventures Learning Center in West Price Hill. The prosecutor says this new charge involves the same victim, but a different date. Well, he may be under indictment, but Butler County Auditor Roger Reynolds now has the GOP's endorsement in his re-election campaign. Reynolds faces bribery and corruption charges. He's pleading not guilty and is scheduled to go to trial in August. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost tried to get Reynolds suspended from office, but a commission appointed by the Ohio Supreme Court ruled that a suspension was not warranted.
Well, another chilly night on tap. I keep waiting for this to be the end of the chilly days.
Well, Erica tells us that it might be a little bit closer to that reality. Hope is on the horizon, right, Erica?
Yeah, that's right. Good evening to you guys. We saw temperatures in the lower 50s today, which is super subpar. We should be in the mid to upper 60s this time of year, but it's coming. And we're actually going to exceed that later in the 7-day. But tonight is going to be a cold one. Tomorrow morning, temperatures near or below freezing. We're under a freeze warning for Clinton County. That's where we can have temperatures between 30 and 33 degrees. And then for the rest of us almost, we're under a frost advisory. So areas of frost likely in the shaded areas, even Clinton County. We're just going to be a little bit colder to our north and east and our north and east of the Local 12 viewing area. So we'll talk about more about the low temperatures in your neighborhood coming up in just a bit, but we're quiet. We stay dry tonight. Temperatures right now in the lower 40s in Cincinnati and Wilmington. We're at 35 already in Hamilton, 34 in Middletown. So we're getting close to that freezing mark to our north. Tomorrow morning, we wake up to those mid to lower 30s in Cincinnati, and we'll top out a little bit warmer than today by about 10 degrees. But the 80s are on the way. We'll talk more about that coming up in about 15 minutes. Guys, back to you.
Erica, thank you. Well, there's no more mask requirement at CVG and with major airlines. The Biden administration says it'll only appeal a federal judge's decision knocking down mask mandates if the CDC says it's a danger to public health. Local bus riders can also ditch their masks if they so choose, but some passengers say they'd rather be safe than sorry.
I'm over 60 and I have no car, so I have to ride the bus. And so I'm meeting a lot of more people, so I have to keep my immune system up, and it's not that good.
Hamilton County Health Commissioner Greg Kesterman says he's not concerned about the decision. He says for more than a month now, transmission in the county has been low.
The U.S. is preparing for a major new shipment of artillery and ammo for Ukraine, rushing to get it there in time to be used against a new Russian offensive. Civilians continue to be targeted, and humanitarian corridors are essentially closed. Charlie D'Agata is in eastern Ukraine.
From the hard-hit city of Kharkiv to the north, to the besieged port city of Mariupol to the south, where Russian troops stormed the steelworks facility where holdout Ukrainian forces are struggling to make a last stand. Russian missiles and artillery bombarded targets across a 300-mile front line in a ferocious new phase of the war. Ukrainian officials say forces have withstood the worst of the onslaught so far, President Zelensky vowing, no matter how many Russian troops they send here, we will fight. We will defend ourselves. After failing to capture the capital, Kyiv, Russia has turned its focus and firepower on the country's industrial heartland in the east, repositioning thousands of troops and heavy weapons to the Donbas region, taking over the frontline town of Crimea and expanding areas already under Russian occupation, including the seizure of Europe's largest nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia after a hard-fought battle that put the facility itself in peril. This river effectively serves as a front line between Russian-held territory, including the nuclear power plant, and Ukrainian-held territory. But this war has already hit home here. Today, they held a funeral service for 29-year-old Vyacheslav Dymov, the airborne lieutenant killed 3 days ago when his vehicle struck a Russian anti-tank mine. His mother, Alla, told us he wanted to be a soldier since he was 4. There will never be a child like him, she said. My shining son. They took my only blood. They took my son. May he rest in peace. They took my angel. Dymov and his wife Ivana had only been married for a year and a half. They were planning to start a family. One phone call and it all gets shattered like a puzzle, she said, and you end up all alone. She saved the screenshot of their last video call. Are you going to be okay? This very morning, I asked him to give me all that heroism and strength he possessed and to look after me. Ivana told us she always felt like there was a guardian angel looking after her husband as a soldier, and now he has become her guardian angel. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, Dnipro, Ukraine.
Still ahead, police in Indiana are trying to identify a little boy.
His body was found inside a suitcase over the weekend. Tonight, they reveal an important new clue.
Lots of professional athletes help charities, but this basketball player is going well beyond what anyone else has ever done.
Welcome to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert.
Colbert's got a new Late Show with Neil deGrasse Tyson tonight on CBS.
J.D. Vance called for higher taxes, and Jane Timken bankrolled tax-raising politicians. They're taking Mike Gibbons' words out of context to hide their own terrible records. Mike Gibbons never voted for a single tax increase and never will.
That's why I'm supporting conservative outsider Mike Gibbons. Mike Gibbons will fight to end the reckless spending of your tax dollars. Help me take back America and support Mike Gibbons for Senate.
I'm Mike Gibbons, and I approve this message. Donald Trump has officially endorsed U.S. Senate candidate J.D. Vance.
J.D. is the conservative outsider who will continue Trump's fight to secure our borders, protect the unborn, get rid of the corrupt politicians, and stop Joe Biden. J.D. Vance, Marine, author of Hillbilly Elegy. President Trump's endorsed America First conservative.
Trump fought back, and so have I. Now I'll take our fight to the U.S. Senate. I'm J.D. Vance, and I approve this message.
State police in Indiana are trying tonight to identify a boy whose body was found inside a suitcase on Saturday, and they've released a new detail tonight. Check this out. This is the unusual suitcase he was in. They're hoping it's distinctive enough that someone might recognize it and offer a clue. A man just out in the woods hunting mushrooms found the suitcase in a rural area near Sellersburg, that is north of Louisville.
Obviously, a 5-year-old child does not end up inside of a suitcase that's sealed on his own. It's very tragic. It's a very sad case. It's not the type of case that anybody wants to work on, and it's a lot of emotions involved in this case.
Here's a description. That child is black, thought to be between 5 and 8 years old. None of the schools in the area have reported any missing children. Police do believe he died recently.
The crew of private citizens at the International Space Station will have to wait another day to come home. NASA postponed the SpaceX return today because of unfavorable weather conditions. The crew includes Dayton entrepreneur and adventure seeker Larry Connor, who spoke to Local 12 last week from the ISS.
The 2022 National Teacher of the Year is an Ohioan. Michael George went to Oberlin in northern Ohio to find out what makes him so special to his students.
Are you sure? You positive?
History teacher Kurt Russell's students at Oberlin High School in Ohio already know he's one of a kind.
He's like the best teacher I've ever had.
Now the whole country knows too. Russell was selected by the Council of Chief State School Officers as this year's National Teacher of the Year.
I'm nervous, excited, I'm humbled. There are so many great teachers out there, and just to be selected as National Teacher of the Year is mind-blowing.
It's like he commands your attention.
He is so passionate about what he teaches.
Marcus Garvey is saying the same thing.
I asked Russell what his secret is.
I believe what I have is what other great teachers have. That we have love for our students, that we have a passion for teaching.
At a time when some are trying to ban teachers from discussing racism in the classroom, Russell regularly introduces discussions with his students about race, culture, and representation.
Students are more than capable of having these conversations, and they want to have it.
He does a really good job of fostering conversations where everyone can have a perspective, and that perspective is totally valid.
A teacher who challenges and engages his students and earns their respect. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The NBA playoffs are underway, and the top seed, Phoenix Suns, are favored to win it all.
Now, while every player, of course, dreams of winning the title, one member of the team is playing for so much more. Here's Jamie Yukas.
In a league loaded with millionaires, Phoenix Suns center Bismack Biyombo is 1 in a million.
When I'm set on something, nobody's really, especially like something like this, nobody's changing my mind.
The 11-year NBA veteran is giving up his entire salary this season, $1.3 million, to build a hospital in his home country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
What did your agent say?
Okay, I get to work.
Really?
Yes.
He wasn't like, you're crazy?
No.
Biyombo has already established schools and basketball academies, but he feels the most urgent need is health care.
There's only one doctor for 10,000
Yes.
people in the Congo?
Isn't it crazy?
That, mind-boggling.
One doctor for every 10,000. If your loved one go into the hospital, they have a higher chance of dying than surviving. It really breaks my heart.
Grief that is also deeply personal. His father died of COVID last summer in the Congo, but not before instilling in him the value of public service.
I wanted to do something for him that will continue to service people, but most important, save lives.
Hope and inspiration from a basketball giant with an even bigger heart. Jamie Yukas, CBS News.
Pretty incredible.
And you wouldn't know it just watching, watching the game.
Yep.
Good inside story right there. All right, hopefully our story is that the spring is here to stay, and we don't slip back.
Here? Is summer here? Is summer here yet?
Yeah, but
I'll take that. This weekend, maybe.
I know, it is. It's going to feel like summer this weekend. It'll feel like winter tomorrow morning and kind of spring in between.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So three seasons in a
week.
few days.
It's typical Ohio weather, right?
I know. It's spring. We are sitting in the lower 40s right now, upper 30s, mid 30s for some of you guys, especially Hamilton, Middletown. We're around 34 degrees. So we're going to be sinking to freezing, if not a little bit below freezing, especially for areas across the north and northeast, which I'll show you that freeze warning and frost advisories right now. We do have a frost advisory in effect in areas in blue, freeze warning in Clinton County. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple freezing numbers here, or perhaps some below freezing numbers into tomorrow morning for a few hours. So not sure if anybody planted anything yet. I doubt it, but if you do have anything outside that you want to protect, cover them up now so they don't get a little crippled in the morning. We're going to continue to have temperatures fall into those lower to mid 30s into tomorrow morning. We're at 34 in Cincinnati. By tomorrow morning, 33 in Brookville. We might be a little bit colder for Hamilton and Lebanon, Middletown as well. We're down to 30 to 32 in Wilmington, and then we'll be in those lower 30s for Hillsborough and Peebles. High pressure down to our south and west is what's keeping us dry tonight, and what will help to keep us dry through the day tomorrow. You can see how this rain is kind of just running into that drier air of the high pressure, and it's kind of eating away at that rain, but it will continue to develop over the next 24 hours, and we will see rain move into the tri-state Wednesday night. Tomorrow's forecast, though, is relatively dry throughout the day. We'll have some clearing in the morning, and that's why we'll have some areas of frost for a lot of us, and temperatures down to the lower 30s. By 9 a.m. we're close to 40. By noon we're in the lower 50s, where we topped out at today, and then temperatures will be in the lower 60s for tomorrow. So we'll see about a 10-degree jump for tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, and we are going to have plenty of clouds linger. So I expect more clouds and sunshine through Wednesday, but the day will be dry. Here's a look at Futurecast. We start you off at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Temperatures are going to be in those lower 60s. We'll have mainly cloudy skies, but we're dry for the morning and the evening commute. We'll start to see some showers move closer to the area by probably 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Better chances move in closer to midnight and overnight. We're going to see some heavier pockets of rain around 3, 4, 5 a.m. into Thursday morning. Temperatures in the 50s early Thursday morning, and that rain will eventually taper down after about 7 o'clock in the morning, becoming a little bit more scattered and lighter in nature. So we're still going to track some scattered light showers throughout the morning into the early afternoon, and then things improve by the afternoon or early evening with highs in those 60s. So 62 tomorrow, a dry day, and then showers move in at night. Scattered rain in the morning on Thursday, 68 for a high. Drier later in the day with a little sunshine, and then it looks dry on Friday with partly sunny skies. Highs well into the 70s. We'll be into the 80s for this weekend. Saturday looks great, 82 degrees. We'll have some high clouds filtering the sunshine, and then around 80 degrees on Sunday. We are going to see more rain move in on Monday, but that's next week. So enjoy this weekend with those highs well above normal. We'll be right back after the break with sports with Gary Miller.
John Lomax, a broadcasting legend, retiring after 39 years covering the tri-state's biggest stories. Special guests share their memories all week long on Local 12's Good Morning Cincinnati. Get Local 12's The Weather Authority app today. Constantly updated by the team of meteorologists you trust. The information you need to keep your family safe and ahead of severe weather. Download Local 12's The Weather Authority app.
A new study at the James aims to help lung cancer patients deal with depression and anxiety. Expert Nicole Arado is here to tell us more.
The ABC trial is a study that is aiming to reduce depression and anxiety in folks with advanced lung cancer. ABC stands for A, biobehavioral cognitive treatment. We have behavioral aspects, cognitive aspects, and also biological aspects. All of these things are playing a role in how we are trying to address depression and anxiety.
Who's eligible for the study?
Patients who are eligible for our study have stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer, have moderate to severe depression and anxiety, and they are receiving care at the James at Ohio State. Most of our patients start in the moderate range, where symptoms are really getting in the way of their functioning. And by the end of treatment, those symptoms have reduced down to the mild range or even non-existent. We know that there's no routine lung cancer, so we need to support each patient's needs and recognize their strengths.
To learn more, visit go.osu.edu/ABC Study.
From Gary Miller, the Local 12 Sports Report, sponsored by Prime Lending.
Sitting just a point out of the MLS basement, FC Cincinnati needs all the work it can get in. The point they got with that 0-0 draw in Atlanta Saturday helped, but they were not only shut out in that match, they didn't manage a single shot on goal. Perhaps a return to the U.S. Open Cup against USL-level competition could give the Orange and Blue some confidence. Sparse crowd for the Riverhounds' first visit to TQL Stadium. Pittsburgh more aggressive in the first half, 38th minute, point blank. But Roman Celentano, making his first start in net, keeps it scoreless by the break. Early second half, Alan Cruz in the attack with the blast, but it's off the post. Rebounds to Nick Markanek. Stopped, but gets it back and sails it high into the stands. Scoreless through regulation. Early in the first 15-minute extra period, Barreal beat Waite on a penalty kick, leading to the 2-0 triumph. They advanced to the round of 32. Barreal had both goals. In Monday's series opener in San Diego, the Reds jumped out to their first lead since they left Atlanta. Tommy Pham had one hit in his first 10 games. He homered on the first pitch he saw, although that lead didn't last past the bottom of the first. The Reds' three-hole hitter had 3 hits, but his solo homer provided the only run as the Reds continue to get dominated in the batter's box.
One thing about good pitching, you have to do your best job not making it easier for them. And, you know, we could do it as a team. We could definitely do a little bit better job at that, you know, getting pitchers in the strike zone, which it's easier said than done.
Well, that's been easy for him lately. Exact duplicate of last night. Pham homers in his first at-bat. Then Manny Machado answers with a 2-run shot in the bottom of the first. As if a 7-game losing streak and anemic offense isn't enough, Jonathan Indy and Mike Moustakas go on the injured list, and Tyler Stevenson has left this game after a vicious collision at home plate. It's 5-2 San Diego in the 6th. With next week's NFL draft closing in, some of the Bearcats' best get one last crack to impress by invitation of the Bengals.
If you struggle with CPAP, you should check out Inspire.
Honey?
Inspire, sleep apnea innovation. Learn more and view important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Who here is tired of getting hammered by inflation? We've got to get serious about lowering costs and actually helping people. And that means both parties need to stop wasting time on stupid fights. We've got to take on China, fix our supply chains by making things in America, and we've got to pass a real tax cut for workers to put more money in your pockets. We can't afford to be Democrats and Republicans right now. We have to be Americans first.
I'm Tim Ryan, and I approve this message.
Nobody does spring like us, and nobody beats our prices on farm and home favorites. Like barbecue grilling pellets for just $6.99 a bag. Or grow your own with assorted garden plants, only $4.78 a piece. And speaking of spring, how about a full-size 14-foot trampoline with netting enclosure, just $209.99. Shop now at ruralking.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
A record of conservative results, cutting taxes, protecting Ohio jobs, securing the border, and funding police.
That's what matters in this campaign, because it's all about Ohio. My opponents are focused on name-calling instead of results. They attack and insult each other, even had a near fistfight. So forget all their nonsense. This is your Senate seat, because Ohio is what matters. I'm Matt Dolan, and I approve this message.
In Paul Brown Stadium this morning, more than 24 college players were hosted by the Bengals in a pre-draft workout. 7 Bearcats invited, although Alec Pierce was just there for moral support, having shown more than enough at the Senior Bowl and Combine. Bearcats teammate Joel DeBlanco wasn't happy with his recent pro day performance at UC, so he seized this second opportunity.
A lot of the similar things. The Bengals team ran our pro day, and so a lot of familiar drills, and it was good to go out there and feel more prepared. I've been practicing the drills and been working hard since the pro day, so I think I went out there and represented UC well.
Aside from Darian Beavers, who projects as a 3rd or 4th round pick, most of the players who showed up at 8 in the morning are looking to impress enough to get a free agent camp invite after the draft. Demonstrating desire goes a long way with Bengals head coach Zach Taylor.
Do they love the process? You know, that's the biggest thing for us is how have they reacted to this process? How are they going to react to the grind of a really long season where you got to pay attention to meetings and practices, and you got to love that stuff, or else it's kind of eat you up a little bit. So those are the things that we just have to do during the scouting process.
Miami had half a dozen players at the workout as they hope to head for the pros. A.J. Mayer is heading to Arkansas State. The quarterback who led Cubcat to a state title will spend his final year of eligibility collegiately playing for former UC head coach Butch Jones. Today, Max Preps named D. Alexander to its freshman All-America team. The Purcell Marion standout had earlier been named the Ohio Division III Player of the Year, leading the Cavs to the school's first state title in girls basketball. Both KK Bransford of Mount Notre Dame and fellow senior Chance Gray of Winton Woods earned honorable mention distinction for the Max Preps National All-America team.
So the narrative is the middle class is getting screwed is absolutely false.
Many are paying virtually nothing.
50% don't pay any income tax.
They should be paying taxes. It's that simple.
The middle class is not really paying any kind of a fair share.
All I'm asking is pay your fair share.
Everybody should share it in the tax bill.
Pay your fair share.
The difference between Biden and Mike Gibbons on taxes. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this ad.
Want to stop Biden's inflation? Send someone who's done it before. Josh Mandel took Ohio from an $8 billion budget hole to a $1 billion surplus. He put Ohio's checkbook online so taxpayers could see how their money's being spent. And he earned Ohio the #1 ranking in America for fiscal transparency. End Biden's inflation? Send Josh Mandel to Washington.
I'm Josh Mandel, and I approve this message.
Marty Brenneman here. I keep saying how much I love Help Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric, and Drain Cleaning. I use Help for everything, and wow, Help is the only company I'd ever call.
It's gonna be hot. Get a complete cooling tune-up for only $88. That's right, a complete cooling tune-up for only $88.
I trust the Help team so much that I tell my friends they can even send help to their grandmother's house. When you need help with your plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drain cleaning, call Help.
Call 333-HE-LP.
Today, every business is digital. From web design and development to e-commerce, AmericanEagle.com delivers innovative website and digital solutions, driving growth for their clients. Their e-commerce work for WeatherTech focused on advanced functionality in finding specific products, increasing conversion, and accelerating growth. Need to build online revenue? Let's talk. AmericanEagle.com, building your digital mindset.
Download Local 12's The Weather Authority app.
All right, Erica, check out our forecast. It's cold for tonight.
I know, and it's going to be cold. Temperatures down to about 29 to 33 degrees. Some mid-30s out there by tomorrow morning, but back into the 60s for the afternoon.
I'm liking those 80s there this weekend. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Tossed, buffalo, sauced, hot honey, flipped.